Can I beat Fallout New Vegas as Dio? So, the first thing that came to my mind when coming up with this challenge was how can I make a build that fits Dio's character in terms of gameplay? Specifically, the consumable item, as I'm going to label it here, Turbo, slows time when it gets taken, and it's only active for a brief period of time. So, essentially, it's almost a one-to-one copy of Dio's stand power, the world. So, this would be an essential part of the build, and it's something that I wanted to constantly use throughout the run, as I thought it was going to be fitting. I also had a bit of trouble trying to figure out what weapon I wanted to use for this build, or if I should even use a weapon at all. Obviously, I wouldn't be using firearms here, as Dio never really used a gun outside of one time with a pistol, and it was very brief, so I'm not really going to count that. So melee was going to have to be a must here. I was going to be unarmed for some portions of this run, however, I mostly ended up settling on the Prey Mantis blade melee weapon, mostly just because of its yellow hue that matches Dio. That, and I think Dio had some claws, at least from what I remember. There weren't many armors in the game that matched Dio's drip, so I mostly just used random armors for the beginning and the mid game. And I would switch to some ranger gear for the remainder of the game at the end. I would occasionally be removing my helmet for certain situations, that way we could show off the nice yellow hair. So with that, my general build idea had been thought out, and the rules I had for the run would follow them. So the rules would mostly just restrain me to using only melee weapons, no matter what. This would mean in certain DLCs, dead money, where I did not have a melee weapon available, I would only be allowed to use my bare fists. Using Turbo whenever possible, and always buying it when I saw it at vendors, was also essential for this run. That way we can use the world, quote unquote, as often as possible. Lastly, I would have to make sure Dio rules the Mojave, meaning I wouldn't side with any one side, as Dio is a solo power who is in control, and keeping that theme means I can't really side with the NCR, the Legion, or Mr. House. Additionally, Dio can be quite manipulative, and usually recruits powerful people to assist in his ruling, and destroys any who gets in his way. So throughout my playthrough, I would be recruiting others to help rule the Mojave alongside of Dio, and I would be destroying anybody who presented themselves as too big of a threat. So with the rules established and my build idea created, let's get into this. Creating Dio was rough, as the character creator isn't the best in New Vegas, but I tried to get his hair right, as I felt that was the most important part. Some spiky yellow hair was the closest preset available, so we went with that. For Dio's stats, I wish I could have just maxed out a bunch here, as that would be fitting for Dio. However, I tried to get as close as I could. I gave Dio 10 strength because, well, look at him. Also, considering his stand power, it made sense. I gave him 8 endurance for the same exact reason. I gave him 6 charisma, as Dio can be quite charming and manipulative, as mentioned earlier, so it seemed pretty fitting. I made his perception low only to boost other stats, as I think Dio would have somewhat high perception normally, but that just wasn't achievable here. So this was the final stat sheet for Dio going into this. Could I have optimized this better? Probably, but it doesn't really matter. We'll be getting overpowered soon enough. I tagged the unarmed, speech, and medicine traits for early game here, mostly since we wouldn't have any good melee weapons for a while. We ended up taking Wild Wasteland and Skilled for our traits, as Wild Wasteland is just funny, and Skilled helps to push Dio's stats as high as they can from the get-go, which just shows his superiority. Then Dio was let loose onto the Wasteland to dominate everything within it. If the DLC will stop loading in. This lady tried to get me to do some target practice, so I obliged.
This and try to hit a couple.
We quickly left the woman as she had little to offer Dio, so we headed down the road in search of fellow stand users to recruit to our cause. Unfortunately, these poor souls decided to exist in our vicinity, and Dio just couldn't have that. After a short walk, Dio stumbled upon the pathetic town of Prim. While there was not much of a value, Dio could amass the support of the individuals living here and make them his servants at a later date. The loiterers had to go, however. We made our way to New Vegas, taking out any who dared to challenge Dio, and making acquaintance with some other stand users as well. We met our first and one of the only real challenges, near Nipton, as Dio didn't feel like concentrating for the early game and didn't take some encounters seriously. So with some precise planning, Dio made swift work of these poor souls. Upon reaching Nipton, we met everyone's favorite NPC.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did! You fucking kidding me? First I get my leg smashed, and then in walks the Powder Ganger's Grim fucking Reaper.
I guess he was lying. His legs worked fine. Dio doesn't tolerate insults. Luckily for Volpes, Dio had some use for the Legion before we could discard them. In Novak, we encountered another stand user named Boone, who would be of some use down the line. So we assisted him in doming this lady, as Dio would. When we came near Helios 1, a side objective became evident for Dio. Controlling all the power in the region would help to create a private sector as Dio wanted. So dealing with the NCR for now would be crucial before we could get rid of them.
Who the hell are you? They bring you in to replace me? They're replacing me, aren't they? They asked me how well I understood theoretical physics. I said I had a theoretical degree in physics. They said, welcome aboard.
As we made our way to New Vegas, we gathered the weapons, ammo, and armor of any fallen troops who dared to face us, and we would sell them later on. This allowed us to amass enough caps to get into the Strip. Looking to get to know some of the tribes of New Vegas, we made our way to the Silver Rush.
Do it. Never break faith with the Van Graffs.
After that, we decided to work a few jobs in order to earn some extra caps, and get some use out of the Van Graffs before we destroy them, as they wouldn't be allowed in Dio's New Vegas. After that, Dio returned to Prim to ensure its survival and the allegiance to him.
Well, my problem is that I'm no longer a deputy. I'm just a beagle now.
We managed to get our hands on a power gauntlet that would serve as an early game weapon for us. We returned to Helios 1 and assured our region would retain power for Dio's rule. Upon reaching New Vegas and meeting with Mr. House, Dio quickly decided he would have to go. However, House would live for now in order to gain his trust and make the betrayal even sweeter. Another goal was to become rich, of course, which I would use a glitch that involved the casino chips. However, it would require a small fortune of investment first. So we went snow globe hunting to grab a good chunk of caps. Funny how Mr. House pays more for snow globes than the platinum chip, by the way. From there, we made our way back to the stand user Cass in order to free her and use her to help us annihilate the Van Graffs later.
Paper, if it means getting out of here.
Appreciate the help.
I'll put my name to it.
We made some more caps by selling to some shady vendors,
Like I always say, a polite society is an armed society.
which gave us enough to buy our weapon for the run, the Mantis Gauntlet. It had good damage, decent speed, but most importantly, it was yellow. We grabbed the Bloody Mess perk for extra damage. Then came revenge on Benny.
What in the goddamn?
We dealt with him swiftly.
Not the point I was aiming for.
Get this in here.
Yes Man would be our main avenue for achieving an independent region.
And bestows upon you the exceptional gift of his mark.
Cool. Then received a lecture from House. We went undercover in the Legion in order to access our army that would be used to dominate the region later on. We defeated every opponent in the arena inside the Legion compound to assert dominance.
I want you to destroy whatever you find in there. I'll take that as a sign you've got the job done.
After securing them, we made our way back to House, itching for the day we would stop taking orders from him. From there, we needed to recruit some factions to uphold our empire. Up first was the Boomers.
Whoa there, pal. You better slow down, or you'll get blown up like the rest of the idiots who thought they'd scavenge in Boomer territory.
Normally, their bombardment is tough to get through, but all we needed was a little...
How the hell did you survive that bombardment? Are you even human?
Who knew time stopping would be so powerful?
You picked Bug up.
We helped out the Boomers with our pseudo-medicine, listened to their history, which we would soon rewrite. We really got to see our build come together on these ants as we were absolutely annihilating them. It was about here that I managed to get a good supply of turbo, meaning I could start using it in most encounters from here on out. These lake lurks were causing a bit of trouble for us, but it was nothing some... couldn't fix. Don't know how they are gonna get that over the base.
What you have done for us is a miracle, child.
Well, now that we gain their trust, we can get rid of them. Alright, they are useful for now, so they can stay.
You do?
The Omertas were next up on House's shopping list, so we were off to Gamora. We ran through this thanks to Dio's charm.
I hear you've been asking questions about me, dickweed. I don't give half a dick what you heard. You again. Where the fuck did you get that?
You must be trying to get me killed. Little pet project, I've been making some thermite.
I really thought Kachino would open fire before the bosses turned on each other, but I mean, better late than ever, I guess.
Yeah, we lost some guns, you little weasel. Are you shitting me? Nero, you backstabbing, two-timing. I knew this day would come.
I'm gonna run a tight ship here, don't you worry.
We had a side objective with Cass here. She wanted some revenge and I was more than glad to oblige. Nothing like wiping out a rival faction. I know this seems obvious, but slowing time is so much fun, and obviously very powerful. I really felt like Dio at this point by just stopping time and taking everyone out. So we slaughtered the Van Graffs, looted their store, as well as their corpses. Those weapons and armor would make a fine addition to my cap collection.
I think Freeside will breathe a little easier now.
We settled things with McLafferty. Not sure if we needed to take out all the guards here, but I just played it safe and left no witnesses.
Payback's a bitch.
The piercing strike perk made this build. hands down. We would do so much damage thanks to this perk, as ignoring 15 damage threshold is just insane. We paid the Brotherhood of Steel a visit to see if they would serve us or not. Unfortunately, they asked me to disarm, so the mission became a whole lot simpler.
Will you comply? Makes things simple for us.
So we systematically slaughtered every one of them in every room, gathering all of the supplies and getting the passwords needed to initiate the self-destruct sequence and leave the Brotherhood nothing but a memory.
Check it out, between the dumpsters there.
Well, alrighty then.
Single-handedly destroying a Brotherhood of Steel bunker is quite an accomplishment.
Mess with any of the equipment here, and I'll...
Okay. With the substation powered, House had outlived his usefulness, so the time had finally come.
Psycho Mantis.
Why have you done this vanity project? No! Don't disable.
Letting him live would be worse than death, so I know what Dio would do. With Yes Man in charge, we could finally do things our way, starting with taking out some of our competition. Can't have any other faction starting their own dictatorship except for Dio's.
What the fuck are you doing here? You got some kind of fucking death wish, asshole?
The Fiends are up first. They all had to go. They brought too much violence that wasn't directly caused by Dio, and we couldn't have that. So we charmed our way inside. Then we started with the leader, and worked our way down. Next, I wanted to deal with Caesar, as Kimball had already been unalived. I wanted Boone to accompany us for the journey, but I wasn't in the NCR's good graces, so we had to suck up to them a little bit first. So we helped them with their mole problem.
I don't know what you mean.
Helped them gather some data from this vault, where we met this ghoul. She wanted me to trigger a gas explosion while in said room with a gas leak.
I smell pennies! Did you do these repairs?
After a couple failed attempts, I realized I can just stop time, and so that became our solution. Then I gaslit the ghoul into believing that this data could be used for good.
We aren't some motley band of vault alchemists. We're with the government, for goodness sake.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. At this point, I'd gather enough caps for our 1 bajillion caps per hour infinite money glitch not clickbait method. Just enough to get some negative integers and bam, infinite caps. Now with Boone at our side, Caesar was in our sights.
I see any crimson, I'm taking a shot.
So I gathered some implants using our massive stack of caps.
That would be the Nemian subdermal armor. The nociception regulator modifies your cardiovascular system. That's the Phoenix monocyte breeder.
Now we would have higher defenses, a bit of extra health regeneration, and in addition, some higher stats.
This boat, it's probably the last one we ever take.
With that, Dio and Boone headed out. Boone and Dio slowly mutilated their way through Caesar's camp until they were finally face to face. And they put up no fights. Now all of the Legion will cower at the sight of Dio.
Caesar's dead. Bet he didn't see this coming when he was having his coffee this morning. Whatever happens from here on out, we killed that prick in the middle of his fortress.
I finished off some of the remaining leaders of the Fiends. Got warned by the NCR, not like I care.
You've got 3 days to improve your reputation with the NCR, or we come for you.
So we went to convince the Great Khans to just straight up leave the Mojave. If they refused, then we would have to get rid of them. So we decided to have Carl removed by mob.
And I wouldn't wish to compare them to the Great Khan. Enough! How dare you compare Caesar's finest to this tribe of savages?
Hey!
Then we convinced each of the trusted advisors of the Great Khans to have the same opinion as me. We grabbed Eddie because, why not? Papa Khan was convinced to just leave the region and not be a problem, so it saves me the work of getting rid of him.
Perhaps it's time to find our own destiny, unburdened by the past.
All we had left was the White Glove Society.
My deepest apologies for the slightest inconvenience.
Since they were cannibals, I figured Dio wouldn't have much of an issue with them, so we could just let them stick around for now. So we teased the rancher, convinced the cannibals I'm chill, saved the rancher's son.
My daddy sent you? I almost died in here. What the hell took you so long? Society readouts.
Grabbed their replacement meal.
Are they back?
With that, we accomplished most of the base game. So, it was DLC time, which I've never actually played, so this was kind of a first for me. I didn't realize till after playing through all of them that I played them in the complete wrong order. We started with Lonesome Road, where we grabbed the laser, slowly made our way through the marked men in Hopeville. I know this Deathclaw wasn't the most powerful version, but seeing him get one-tapped was just insane. The Tunnelers stood absolutely no chance, except for when they would ragdoll me into a corner and swarm me where I couldn't do anything. Also realized after recording this that I forgot to fight all the Deathclaws at the quarry, so please don't hurt me. Slamming Deathclaws in this area was quite fun, considering I've never really used a melee build before. We tested out the nukes here, and well, Dio was quite excited. We grabbed the ninja perk for the extra crit chance. The Tunnelers were menaces, actually some of the hardest encounters I've had in the entire game. Then I remembered I can just slow time and suddenly everything got so much easier. I don't know how I kept forgetting I can slow time. That's the whole point I made this video. What's wrong? Anyways, we made our way through the rest of the Lonesome Road DLC, once again surprised at how much damage we were managing to do. So at long last, we met face to face with Ulysses.
What was it to you?
Who I just convinced to side with me. I mean, he basically had the same backstory as us, so, I mean, what's better than one Dio? Two. Actually, Dio would probably hate that, but we'll just keep him around for now.
Both the weapon to kill a nation and the strength to do it. All that's been built since America died. You destroyed your own homeland. There's a shadow of a nation behind you. Two couriers together at the divide.
Making a semi-last stand with Ulysses was quite fun though. We ran through the enemies so quickly, our build was just too good. I forgot to mention I grabbed Radchild earlier on in the run, so I was basically just letting my radiation build up over time, and specifically doing things to give myself more radiation. At this point I would regenerate health rather quickly thanks to Radchild. Later on in the run I basically didn't have to heal at all outside of broken limbs, but Radchild would essentially just heal any damage I took immediately. We let Eddie take the fall since he wanted to. Rest in peace, Eddie. You will be remembered. For about 5 minutes until I go back into the Mojave and just get the alternate version of you back, so it's almost like nothing changed at all. At least it was a cool sacrifice.
War never changes.
With that, we had completed the Lonesome Road, and I rather enjoyed it. It was quite fun, and if anything, maybe a bit short. We also grabbed the Elite Riot Gear set here in order to use it for the rest of the run. Before we headed into the next DLC, I had forgotten to deal with the Powder Gangers as well, so we headed over to the NCR Correctional Facility to correct that mistake. It was rather quick and, of course, extremely easy. I recruited Arcade in order to follow me here, as I'm not sure, but I think Radchild gets boosted from his follower perk, as it seems to make me nearly invulnerable to basically everything outside of top tier enemies like Deathclaws and such. Old World Blues was up next. Unfortunately, the main enemies here were robot scorpions, and robots in general were kind of my build's biggest weakness so far.
Thought I heard the pacification fields kick in. It is I, Dr. Mobius, transmitting from my dome-shaped dome.
We removed your brain. Yes.
First was the heart. Third was the spine. What did it say? Spit lead? A gun?
I still had good damage, and with Turbo, I couldn't really be stopped by anything, but most of the fights with Robo-Scorpions took longer than anticipated due to their high health or their damage threshold. Probably a combination of both.
Especially you. That's a bright. Turn you down to the high school dance so you could smoke with Richie Marcus.
Anyways, we completed all these puzzles and grabbed all of the necessary parts that the think tank needed to take on Mobius.
No!
Once everything was in order, we headed to have a chat with Dr. Mobius.
Hello, it's nice to meet you. Who can I hide you from today?
Boy, if you don't get your squeak...
Stealth is a vital part of Metal Gear Online for all players.
Data processed.
Did you retrieve the technologies yet? We need them, as I have indicated. I know how these technologies work. Of course I know.
He unleashed a giant Robo-Scorpion onto us, which I thought would be an epic battle. Then I just slowed time and took out the giant Robo-Scorpions in seconds without any real struggle or issues. So it was a bit of a letdown, suffering from success over here.
The giant enemy spider.
You're here for your brain, perhaps?
I figured we'd hear out Mobius, as I didn't really like the think tank, so maybe we could take them out together. Then I had to persuade my brain to get back inside my body. Thankfully, Mobius did assist us in coming up with some way to deal with the think tank.
Quote, dick, unquote, clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults, or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Right. Look out, think tank. This brain is coming out of its jar.
And a rather nasty ray. Well, you could tell them a ludicrous lie. The more over the top, the better. They're more than a little gullible. Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that.
So I just gaslit them into thinking I was Dr. Mobius and could destroy them whenever I wanted. Doing so made Dr. Klein team up with me, so not really sure how to feel about any of this, honestly. I guess just confused? With Old World Blues completed, we had gotten through about half of the DLC so far. I definitely didn't explore everything in Big Mountain, so I probably will explore more on a different playthrough, or maybe in my own free time later on. The next DLC I went and completed was Honest Hearts, and it was at this point I realized how out of order I was playing these.
Howdy, friend. Heard my little broadcast, did you?
Lee?
Knocking McLafferty out of the running gives Happy Trails a market to expand into.
My boy, it's good to see you again.
God damn it, ambush!
Cover people! Watch yourself! I don't just...
Well, that didn't last long.
Go to our camp on the Eastern Virgin. That was some kind of lucky.
I finally got to meet him, the guy they make dating sims about.
But we can't expect God to do all the work.
He's inexperienced, but he knows enough of our language to ignore the taboos about pre-war buildings.
Daniel seemed cool, but I knew I had to side with Joshua no matter what was going on. So we dealt with the white legs like Daniel wanted, then made Daniel upset by siding with Joshua.
Haven't you seen enough of what's going on here to see that the Sorrows don't need to butcher the white legs for a piece of land? But even if it tramples me into the dust, I will never accept it.
Thank you for this. I know Daniel doesn't approve.
So Dio and Joshua went ravaging the white legs as far as the eye could see. Eventually, Joshua got a bit carried away here. Out of respect for my good buddy, and not wanting him to become a maniac, I told him to chill out and just vibe, which was probably uncharacteristic of Dio, but I just didn't want to see Joshua get carried away. After that, Joshua was fine. I didn't explore much of the Honest Hearts DLC, which is why it was probably shorter than usual, but honestly, most of it was just taking out the white legs. So, I didn't really have many interesting things to cover here outside of Joshua and the story moments. Still really like the DLC though, so we'll probably explore more of it next time I play it. Now, we headed into the last DLC left, and apparently the first DLC release, I think. Dead Money.
Are you listening? Good. From now on, when I talk, listen, then you are of no use to me.
Nope, alright, fine. I had to try at least.
If you can, blow them up or disintegrate.
So this DLC took your inventory away, and well, I didn't have any melee weapons, so I just used my bare fists for a majority of this DLC.
I'll murder you, crush your arms and legs until... The dog not hear you come in. Too hungry now. Yes, master. Dog waited a long time. Brought you many people.
Then eventually, when I did find some melee weapons, I decided not to use them as I was enjoying just punching everything.
I'll blast your ass so far for your head.
The amount of bear traps that I triggered honestly made me wonder how I still had legs at all.
10%, 20%, 5%, 50%, 18% concentrated power.
After hearing the constant ringing from the collar, my ears started to hurt as well. So we recruited the heist crew one by one, which consisted of a schizo mutant, Serana from Skyrim, and a dapper lad. Since Dio was alone out here, I decided we should make as many allies as possible. Not like Dio needed them, but they might be useful later on. It was here that I felt like I had God mode enabled most of the time, as I just had so much healing from Radchild that it really didn't matter how long it took to punch an enemy down, as they just couldn't seem to keep any damage on me longer than a few seconds. As we were getting the crew into position, we started with Serana, of which Serana didn't want to go downstairs, so I had to hack this terminal for her, which was funny considering she was supposed to be sort of the hacker or tech person on the team. Next was the dapper lad, who was too scared to just stay there, so I put up some holograms to help him cope. I swear he was getting on my nerves here. Last was Dog, and I tried everything I could to make Dog do it, but it seemed like we had to consult his darker half. And we needed to get him a snack apparently, so off we go.
2 chunks of meat from their bodies should be enough.
With that, we were off to the Sierra Madre Casino finally. Once we were in, I got the same warm welcome from the beginning of the DLC. Then we got tasked with taking out our acquaintances. First up was the schizo mutant.
A single spark, or he sets off his collar. The casino's going to burn.
We ended up taking him down and merging his personalities, so that's cool.
If you merge us, then who are you? And a feeling of gratitude.
Think you're going to upstage me here at the Sierra Madre? I don't think so.
Next was the dapper lad, and he made one crucial mistake. He thought he could take the entire reward for himself. That's my job, only I'm allowed to take everything for myself.
So, the only chance I've got left is making sure you don't leave. I waited an entire lifetime sitting in that villa.
So we gave him hands while he repeatedly shot me in the chest. Definitely felt like Senator Armstrong here as I just ate up his bullets like they were nothing as I continued to jab his face. After him, we just had Serana left. She was nice enough to just straight up help us. I knew she'd come in handy at some point. From there, we made a mad dash for the vault. After a few, attempts, we finally made it to the vault. Then I realized the point of the DLC is that you have to know when to let go, and that the journey was the real treasure. So the right thing to do would be to drop all the gold, sprint out of here, and go into greater pastures towards the future. But we ain't doing the right thing to do. That's right, we snuck past Elijah, walked to the exit, and made it out with every single gold bar and armor piece that I wanted. I also reloaded my save just to take out Elijah and give him the Dio signature. With that, we completed Dead Money and all of the DLC, so it was time to start wrapping things up. On to the second battle of Hoover Dam we go, as soon as I can figure out how to get these gold bars to the lucky 38 anyways. Well, it took me forever, but I stowed the gold bars away. Not sure why I did this, it's not like I even needed them, as I had basically unlimited money. I guess it was more of a personal challenge to see if I could defy the game, and I did. Anyways, at the dam, literally not a single enemy could stand against Dio. We were so grossly overleveled and equipped with so many perks, every Legionnaire went down with ease. Then I just convinced some NCR to abandon their posts, and bam, we were in.
Damn it all to hell, let's go!
Then we just had one final test, Legate Lenius. And after all this time, I can say he was extremely easy. The most Dio response I could give was this. The easiest fight I've had against him in any playthrough, honestly. The Dio build is so powerful, it's insane. Or I guess most builds in this game are pretty overpowered if you optimize them. After the Legate, it was time for General Oliver, who I promptly gave the same treatment as the Legate. New Vegas belonged to Dio and Dio alone.
These boys with you?
Hello there.
Smiley? Guess it ain't no secret how you, I would sooner spit on the grave of my dead mother than let some courier walk the wasteland fuck talk to me like that.
Well, this run was a ton of fun, and I got to try a bunch of stuff I normally don't when I play New Vegas. I didn't showcase every bit of progression, but it's just essentially taking all of the melee perks. There were probably some better melee weapons you can take, but I kept the Prey Mantis blade simply because it was yellow and it fit Dio's aesthetic. So if you want to try this run out for yourself, I'd honestly recommend it. Tripping out on Turbo as your version of the world is just so much fun. It truly feels like you're playing as Dio. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for making it this far. I appreciate all of you and your support as always. I don't know if I'll make any New Vegas stuff anytime soon, but I guess we'll see.
The courier was recognized as the man responsible for a truly free New Vegas.
Tabitha and Rhonda went east. Occasionally, tales of their exploits found their way back west.
The Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel was no more.
Their leaders destroyed by the courier. The Fiends scattered throughout the wasteland.
Goodsprings thrive. More travelers stop by Goodsprings on their way to and from the Strip.
Cass lived to see the courier bring down 3 armies. And by her count, that was 3 more than she'd expected.
During the Battle of Hoover Dam, the Great Khans quickly evacuated Red Rock Canyon.
Thanks to the courier and Lily, a cure for the Nightkin's schizophrenia was found shortly after Dr. Henry's experiment concluded. Lily continued to take her medicine at half doses, and although she remembered her grandchildren, her mind remained muddled and confused.
The correctional facility became another abandoned ruin in the wasteland.
Prim Slim proves to be an able-minded, if not able-bodied, sheriff for Prim.
And so the courier's road came to an end, for now, because war never changes.
So with that, I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is wherever you're watching this, and take it easy.